this. It's like grounding technique. I haven't done it in a while since it's winter in the East Coast. But now that I have the opportunity, it's like this is all I could do for hours. I've been thinking about the maintenance of checking in. And I can't sustain it without a personal objective or personal vendetta that is suited just for me. I kept going about this path of self-realization in accordance to what other people are doing. And there was some inspiration I've taken from, of course, when I think of texts like Bhagavad Gita, teachers that I admire that teach and share wisdom from practices that's been passed down for millennia, like yoga or pranayama. But the narratives and the mindset and all the mental belief systems I carried were sometimes not in accordance to the level of consciousness I was at. And so I would use these tools to enable a higher sense of consciousness without actually meeting the consciousness I was currently operating at, believing in the illusion that I was at a higher frequency or I was beyond what I currently can operate in my mind, operate within the realms of my mind. It felt like I was trying to aim for a certain level of thinking without actually being there. And I think I'm being more just more true to where I currently stand. And it's subtle. And I think that's where maintenance of the self-check-in comes in. It starts with listening to where you are. I've mentioned and talked about the topic around maintenance in the video titled, I titled it The Momentum of Self-Care, the momentum of something like that, self-care. And I just gained a few more perspectives as of recently, maybe like yesterday really, and the last week or so. But I've gained perspectives around it because I've felt the sincerity behind my acts of doing, and I felt the sincerity with what I was doing, how I spent my time, whether it's through meditation, a practice, or a hobby, or my communication to God, just coming from a place of sincerity. And it feels like I'm not trying to see myself as anyone else. I don't think I can teach or share from an honest place if I'm not feeling secure within myself. That's what it takes, and I've been reflecting on that what it truly takes to come from a place of honesty in order to gain trust from others. Trust is valued only in the realm of honesty and how real we can be. And I'm never gonna be here. Whenever is such I don't want to say never, but I try not to. I'm not gonna try to tell people what to do on here or like be this perfect example. There's things that habits that I have and that I'm not gonna let go of right now. I know that. Certain things I do, just not at that level of consciousness to change. But there's a process to it. Is what I'm trying to say. It's not some quick fix with a meditation or any practice or tool you use that I use. And so the only thing I can say is, I don't know if I can say much. I don't think anyone can say much. No matter how valuable their tips and advice are, it's not always the sole reason that someone alters and changes a habit or pattern. It's not the only thing, and I think we want it to be. When we look at these videos of people giving advice, and I think can elevate lightness to be placed on an area was before subconscious or dormant in our minds, but then we have to kind of adjust to how we can alter that habit based on what works for us, or the unique code that is embedded in each of us entails a different process. Sometimes slower pace in the timeline that is for us. We want it to be easy. That's why we go in these YouTube videos and we sometimes binge. I haven't done that in a long time. I used to, to a certain extent, to certain teachers, but now I kind of just try to lead with where my mind is currently set at, instead of having this like mental list of things to like learn and wisdom to download, like almost checking off a box of, okay, did I learn about this topic or subject, and it was always centered around wellness, mental health, spirituality. And now I'm just leading with where I'm curious about for my own growth, what I'm currently struggling with usually it's been around feeling secure in myself, but I'm just leading with what's currently on my mind, what's currently something I'm struggling with mentally, instead of like trying to fix all of mental anguish, mental emotions, heavy emotions, like trying to like take off all the things so that way I transmute it into love, into creativity, like letting things come as when they come. My emotions, my struggles, my patterns, like when they present themselves to me, that's when I can refine it, look at it again, reevaluate my responses to certain situations when the situation arises. And that's part of maintenance of the self, is letting the timeline of your life unfold. Like when you build a house, you start with the foundation, of course, which might look like the tools that helps you ground yourself, the relationships you build that create a sense of safety, a community, And over time, the house will be stable if you have the right foundation. But there still may be leakages, plumbing that needs to be fixed. You may need to repaint the walls. And so it's a lifetime of maintenance. And that is what I'm trying to use as an analogy with ourselves. Sincerity's helped me. And I still feel like a loneliness a lot sometimes. And it's hard to admit that it's not going to go away. And it's hard to balance like maintenance of the self when you know there's things someone that you can struggle with, and maintenance of the self by checking in with yourself doesn't make all the other things that is uncomfortable go away. And it's hard to have that be true as well, no matter how much you maintain yourself, your mental health, your physical, spiritual health, that it just doesn't go away. So it's like I'm wondering, questioning, how do I maintain myself? How do I continue the maintenance of the self? But I also know that I have these struggles of loneliness, of not being sure of what matters to me sometimes. I do know what matters to me, but I also have areas I don't know, like friendship. I say that because I think if something truly matters to us, then it's just hard when sometimes our habits and our ways of operating conflicts that thing that matters to us. I start to just wonder how much I'm meant to prioritize that thing. So it's like, do I need, friends, yes, but I'm just wondering these things that I'm not sure how much I need to maintain. And because I'm not sure of certain areas that I want to maintain, I'm questioning all of my maintenance. I'm questioning why I feel more certain to maintain other areas of my life than others. Why am I wanting, why do I feel certain about maintaining certain areas of my life and then not certain about others? It's like this, I feel perplexed of where it lies. Where does it lie? Where does my friendships lie in my life? And I witness other people's friendships. It feels like there's a level of feeling like there's no level of being perplexed where they stand with each other. And even though I feel like last year, I think I did try to have this standing with my friends, with the people I know, like a sense of good standing, or like I can understand, okay, this is where we are at in this friendship. But then it feels like not yet grounded. And I don't know if I wanted to be grounded, and that's what perplexes me. I guess this topic, I know it's about maintenance, but it's like my example of where I'm at with maintenance of the self, of myself. It's been on my mind because I was like, wait, I do feel like I'm maintaining my sense of self today and recently in a way that's sincere, and that's what validates the belief that I'm maintaining myself. It's because there's sincerity behind it. But then I started thinking about other areas where I'm not maintaining, and specifically my friendships, connections I have, and I was like, do I even want it to be maintained? And how, in what way? And or my health, for instance, in areas, and this is why this whole topic came up to me, because another example is food. I can maintain having discipline around certain foods, but then sometimes I'll eat something I really like to eat, the taste of it, even though it's not healthy. So it feels like I'm not really truly maintaining my health because I'm letting myself eat certain foods, and then also at the same time not eating certain foods because of health. Taking care of my health, at the same time not taking care of my health. And so I'm like, where does maintenance stand in my life? I need a little bit of flexibility. I know that. I've realized that in the past year or so, that there needs to be flexibility for me personally within structure, or vice versa. There needs to be structure, but also I need both. That's just what I need. So I need. But where does all this stand? I think connections and food, the two categories that perplexes me with maintenance. And but other goals of mine, most of my goals center around movement of my body, and I have, of course, career goals, but otherwise, and that's easier to maintain in a way, because it's like either the hobbies and the job, there's steps involved. There's never it's almost like a blueprint's already there. Like with the hobbies of movement involves consistently moving my body in a way. Of course, eating right, and also being consistent with it. In a way, it just feels like this blueprint. Connections is not really blueprints. Always checking in and kind of feeling it out where both parties stand. And with food, you think about there's cravings involved, there's a level of attachment to certain foods involved. A lot of factors come to play with food and connections. Yeah. I think when I don't look at the camera, I can reiterate my thoughts more concisely, and the sun just helps ground those thoughts and ground my communication, which allows more flow when I speak. So yeah, and now I was ending a conversation, concluding something. Everything's a process, even a communication's a process. So this is all still a process of consciousness that I'm having. Yeah. That's currently where my head is standing, my mind is at. my mind is setting in.